What is up guys, welcome back to another video. In this video we're gonna find out just what type of person I am using an online personality test. Alright guys, so behind me is my setup that I finally recently got settled in this room. But during the time I didn't have this setup, I spent a lot of time in VR chat. And one thing that I noticed with a lot of people's profile is that people are putting these little tags that says something like IF something something, EN something something. And these are not exclusive to VR chat, but you guys might have seen them in like Discord profile or maybe even like, I don't know, some social media status or tags. And depending on the letters that's within that combination, it kind of categorizes you in a set of personality types. And there's a free test that you can take online, and today we're gonna go through those questions in depth with me to find out what my personality type is. So with that being said, let's get on the computer and let's find out what kind of person I am. Alright guys, so now we're on our computer. The website that we're gonna be using for the personality test that we're gonna be taking is gonna be 16personalities.com. I've actually used this before and I've actually got my result once a while back, and I might reveal what I got before at the end of the video. And because since the last time I took it, I might have changed as a person, so the result might be different, you know. But we're gonna go ahead and take this test. I'm gonna go in depth with each question, just kind of give a little bit of explanation as to why I chose what I chose, and we'll see what I get this time around. So the updated version of me with updated result. So before we jump into this, I wanted to show you guys the different personality types that you might be categorized in. So I'm gonna let you guys do the reading because you guys probably read faster than me anyway. I'm just gonna read the different type and it's like brief description for us, okay? So it looks like these types are categorized in 4 sections. And the first one is analyst. So the analyst has the architect. They are imaginative, strategic thinkers with plans for everything. And there's the logician, innovative inventors with an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Commander, bold, imaginative, and strong-willed leaders, always finding a way or making one. Debater, that is the smart and curious thinkers who cannot resist an intellectual challenge. Now we got the diplomats. So they got the advocate, which is a quiet and mystical, yet very inspiring and tireless idealist. Mediator, poetic, kind, and altruistic people, always eager to help a good cause. Protagonist, charismatic and inspiring leaders, able to mesmerize their listeners. Campaigner, enthusiastic, creative, and social free spirits who can always find a reason to smile. So that's the diplomats. Now moving on to the sentinels. Logistician, practical and fact-minded individuals who reliably cannot be doubted. Defender, very dedicated and warm protectors, always ready to defend their loved ones. Executive, excellent administrators, unsurpassed and managing things or people. Consul, extraordinarily caring and social and popular people, always eager to help. These are big words, I'm struggling to be honest. So lastly, we got the explorers. Virtuoso, is that how you say it? Bold and practical experimenters, masters of all kinds of tools. Adventurer, flexible and charming artists, always ready to explore and experience something new. Entrepreneur, smart, energetic, and very perceptive people who truly enjoy living on the edge. Entertainer, spontaneous, energetic, and enthusiastic people. Life is never boring around them. So those are the 16 different personalities divided into 4 different categories. Now that we're kind of familiar with some of the results that I might get, let's dive into the test. Okay, so here we go. Take the test. You regularly make new friends. I think that'll be an agree. I feel like I probably put strongly agree before, but in the past couple of years, I haven't really gone out to make like new friends. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop it down to just agree. Complex and novel ideas excite you more than simple and straightforward ones. I think so. I don't want to get too complicated, but I do like something that's kind of like a little more detailed, rather. You usually feel more persuaded by what resonates emotionally with you than by factual arguments. This is probably gonna be like a disagree, maybe not like super strongly, but kind of highly, just because I trust facts more than my own emotions. Your living working space are clean and organized. At least right now it is. Typically it's organized. I'm not sure if I would go as far as to say like clean. I don't think it's dirty. Like I don't need to clean like every day, right? Maybe I'll give that this one. Yeah. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. That's probably a high agree. You find the idea of networking or promoting yourself to strangers very daunting. I'm just gonna put an agree because it's not like I hate it. It's not something that I actively do. So I'll just give it a slight agree. You prioritize and plan tasks effectively, often completing them well before the deadline. That is probably a strongly agree. People's story or emotions speak louder to you than numbers or data. I'm not sure if I'm fully understanding this like statement, but I am more intrigued. I enjoy more people's stories and emotion than hearing numbers or data. Like I don't enjoy listening to numbers or data. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and put an agree. The reason why I don't put it like the highest agree is because depending on the topic, numbers or data might be louder for me than someone's stories or emotions. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. I'll put a slight agree because I do like it. I don't always use it. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. I'll give it a slight yes, because I think when I do make mistakes, that does kind of prove lack of ability, right? Or knowledge. But it's not really about doubt, so I'll just give it a minor agree. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. I do feel comfortable. I don't often do it. And that's probably because I don't really find people interesting that often. You are not too interested in discussions about various interpretation of creative works. You are not too interested? Oh, that's a strong disagree because I am very interested in hearing about interpretations of creative works. You prioritize facts over people's feeling when determining a course of action. That's a pretty high agree. When you prioritize facts and the fact is that it's gonna benefit you, then your feelings are gonna be good anyways. So you're basically picking both, right? Facts and feeling. You often allow the day to unfold without any schedule at all. Any schedule at all? That's probably a strong disagree because I at least have some kind of schedule. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. I think that's a pretty strong disagree because I do care about the impression that I make. Not so much the impression, but how I treat that person I care about. I guess that's a tricky question. How I approach the person I care about. How they view that, honestly, I don't give a damn. So maybe I do rarely worry about whether I make a good impression. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep it at agree because yeah, I mean, impression wise, I guess I don't care. I enjoy participating in team-based activities. That's a pretty strong agree. I do like team-based activities. You enjoy experimenting with new and untested approaches. Ooh, that might be like a minor agree, maybe a little more. But I'm interpreting this as like new, like never done before, ever. I think that's a pretty high agree actually. You prioritize being sensitive over being completely honest. Probably a strong disagree. If you guys have come to me with like a question, I will always respond with honesty. Now I've gotten a lot better with how I deliver that honesty, but in the end, I see no value in misdirecting somebody with dishonesty, regardless of how that truth affects that person in that moment. You actively seek out new experiences and knowledge areas to explore. New experiences, yes. Knowledge, sometimes. So I'm just gonna give a strong agree. Alright, you are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worst. I prepare for it, but I don't worry for it. Not like a full disagree, but strongly disagree. Because yeah, there's times where I'm like, oh shoot, like what if you enjoy solitary hobbies or activities more than group ones? That is a strong disagree, but there are hobbies or activities that I do enjoy doing by myself. You cannot imagine yourself writing fictional stories for a living. I would never want to write for a living. I think I'll be interested in coming up with fictional stories, but writing them? Yeah, no thanks. You favor efficiency in decisions, even if it means disregarding some emotional aspects. That's a strong agree. Because I believe when you favor efficiency, emotional gets taken care of. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. Yeah, that is... yeah, that's a pretty strong agree. Yeah, get it over with. Chill for the rest of the day. In disagreements, you prioritize proving your point over preserving the feelings of others. I never really care to prove my point. Yeah, so I think I'll disagree. Like if I say something and it doesn't make sense and you're just not convinced, I'm not gonna tell you what to believe, right? You can believe what you want to believe. Usually wait for others to introduce themselves first at social gathering. It's almost neutral for me, but I'm gonna go ahead and disagree. Because I understand at social gatherings, like when you first meet somebody, I know the difficulty of approaching and introducing people. I like to be the one to initiate that, meeting. Hey, I'm Arcemis. Hey, I'm Shoma. Alright, your mood can change very quickly. I think that's a strong disagree. If I get excited, I'm like, I kind of go up slowly. If I go down a hill, I kind of go down slowly. Sometimes I do struggle to recognize like my own downwards emotions. You're not easily swayed by emotional arguments. Oh, emotional arguments will never, for the most part, sway my thought process. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. That's a strong disagree. You enjoy debating ethical dilemmas. I probably do enjoy the debate, whether it's to explore the unknown or uneducated areas. Usually when I'm debating, I'm looking for evidence or points that would alter my belief. I find that very interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and put a strongly agree there. You usually prefer to be around others rather than your own. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I like to be around people, but I do enjoy like alone time too. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. You become bored or lose interest when... No, that's a strong disagree for me. I love it when it gets highly theoretical. When facts and feelings conflict you, you usually find yourself following your heart. This is such a weird one, because you're saying when facts and feelings conflict you. Where did heart come from? But I'm guessing that's feelings, right? I don't think so. Following your heart means you're making a decision based on how you feel in that moment. So that's probably a strong disagree for me. You find it challenging to maintain a consistent work or study schedule. Nah. If I made a schedule, I usually follow it. You rarely second guess the choice that you have made. So I do rarely second guess, but there are times that I do. So I'll go ahead and strongly agree. Your friends would describe you as lively and outgoing. Probably strongly agree, just because I can be. But oftentimes when I do hang out with friends, I'm not the loud one of the group. But the friends are aware that I am a lively and outgoing person, so I think so. You are drawn to various forms of creative expression, such as writing. Writing is not one of them, but yes, various forms of creative expression. So I think that's probably a strong agree. You usually base your choice on objective facts rather than emotional impressions. Yeah, no. I believe emotional impression, impression is like the initial emotion, right? That usually never works out, for me at least, and I believe it doesn't really work out for people in general. Strongly agree. You like to have a to-do list for each day? Nah. That's probably like I would like to, but I don't. I don't feel the need to. But the statement is that you like to have. Like it would be nice. Maybe it's like a slight disagree because I do like to. You rarely feel insecure. This is a very interesting one. For the most part, I do rarely feel insecure. This one. Well, not fully agree. I'll just put it strongly agree. You avoid making phone calls. Do I avoid making phone calls? I do. It's not to these to extent. You enjoy exploring unfamiliar ideas and viewpoints. You enjoy exploring unfamiliar ideas and viewpoints. Oh yeah, strongly agree. Okay, I had to read it twice to understand. Sorry. My reading comprehension is not my strong suit. You can easily connect with people you have just met. I think I have the ability to, but I don't always do so. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. It's not my number one top, but it is high up there. I do want to get back on track ASAP. Alright, you are still bothered by mistakes that you have made a long time ago. It doesn't happen very often, but not fully disagree. There are a thing or two that does bother me from time to time, from something that happened a long time ago. You are not too interested in discussing theories on what the world could look like in the future. You are not too interested? That's a strong disagree. Your emotions control you more than you control them. That's probably... Does full disagree mean like you're like perfect? Like you never ever? Or it's just like... I think this is more like a rarely ever, because I don't think nobody is like full on like never ever, right? When making decisions, you focus more on how the affected people might feel than on what is most logical or efficient. When I make decisions for myself, I go with the most logical or efficient. But most of my decisions is usually going to be to affect people to feel good. How about slight agree? This might come as a surprise to some of you that's known me for a while, but I do always think about how people might feel based on the decisions that I make. But that doesn't determine the decision that I make. Okay, your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. That's probably a strong disagree. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. Never. Yeah, that's how I feel about that one. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Job? Yeah, I think so. So work for me is like my chill alone time, you know? When I come home, I'm streaming, I'm interacting with people, or gaming. Now I'm with family now that I'm back home in Hawaii. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical question is a waste of time. I don't think so. You feel more drawn to busy and bustling atmosphere than to quiet, intimate places. I'd rather have a quiet, intimate place. If a decision feels right to you, you often act on it without needing further proof. Nah, I think that's a strong disagree. I need proof. But there are times where I'm like super confident with how I feel about certain things and I'll just go for it. So you often feel overwhelmed. I think this one is an agree. I feel always overwhelmed. That's probably a slight agree. Or like it's not to a point where it would prevent me from doing what I need to do. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Yeah, for the most part. Not always, but usually. You prefer tasks that require you to come up with creative solutions rather than follow concrete steps. I think it's easier to just follow steps, right, than to come up with something new. So I would prefer to do that. But I do also enjoy creative solutions too, like a minor disagree. You are more likely to rely on emotional intuition than logical reasonings when making a choice. Strongly disagree. You struggle with deadlines. Oh, that's a strong disagree. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Strongly agree. Select my gender, male. Result. My personality type, commander. So ENTJ-A is in fact what I got before. Let's briefly go over commander. I'm not gonna go too in depth about this. So I'm kind of like a neutral when it comes to introverted and extroverted, but I'm a little bit more extroverted than introverted. That makes sense to me. So I think this 61% is kind of accurate. Intuitive over observant. Imaginative and open-minded, focusing on hidden meaning and distant possibilities. I'm not sure about this one. Thinking over feeling, 73% makes total sense. I would think maybe even higher, but 73 is pretty fair. Judging over prospecting. Likely organized, decisive, and thorough. Value structure and planning over spontaneity. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. 83%. Assertive over turbulent. You're likely self-assured, even-tempered, and resistant to stress, refusing to worry too much. At 82%, I think that's pretty fair. So yeah, I mean, for me, I think this is pretty accurate. I thought the career path part was gonna like give you like examples of different jobs or careers, but it doesn't seem to be the case after briefly reading through it, skimming through it. My strengths, there we go. Clear communication, I would like to believe so. Decisive action, I think by nature with what I do as a hobby, I think that just kind of comes with that. Efficient organizer, I can be. I'm not always. Future focused, guarantee. Proactive initiative. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. And result oriented. Yeah, result oriented for sure. My weakness. Yeah, that's what excites me more actually. Reluctant to delegate tasks. You find it difficult to fully trust others with responsibility, causing unnecessary stress by carrying excessive workload yourself. I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah, depends on like who I'm working with too. I don't know, my previous work, I fully trusted everybody. The guys that I was working with in Miami, they were so freaking competent. Yeah, I would trust them to do the work way better than I could. And that's not coming from like lack of self-esteem. That's coming from great team esteem. Alright, overly critical. I don't know about that one. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not like super nitpicky and stuff. Restless with routine tasks. Detail-heavy tasks can test your patience, causing frustration and reducing your enthusiasm and productivity. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm okay with that, I think. Discomfort with ambiguity. Actually, that one I strongly disagree with. At least I believe, you know, when I'm in a team environment and somebody of leadership assigns me a task, if you tell me, hey, I know what I want to get to, and these are the steps that I need you to take for us to get there, I'm gonna be like, got it. Underestimating emotional factors. While focusing on measurable outcomes, you may overlook people's emotional needs, inadvertently hindering overall productivity. I think I struggled with this greatly in the past. I'd like to believe that has improved. And this is probably not the case. Intolerance of inefficiency. This one I'm gonna stay neutral. While it doesn't bother me to a point where it's gonna affect the collaboration dynamic, but I do get bothered when somebody is inefficient, including myself. Oh, it bothers me greatly if I find myself to be inefficient. Oh yeah. So there's a few other things that you can unlock to get more details, and a lot more reading that you can go through. So apparently there's actually more to this page. So there's number 3, personal growth. So my strength is seeking constructive feedback. Always, always, always. High self-motivation. Yeah, I believe so. Actually, a very strange exercise that I adopted just about exactly 10 years ago when I was at like my lowest point in life. I started doing this thing where I actually speak to myself through the mirror. And I think that's super weird, but it works for me. Like I actually just go in the bathroom, super silent, just looking at myself, almost like I'm speaking from Arcemis to Shoma. And that's kind of the thing that I started doing back when I was in like my low. And I've actually just kept doing that anytime I go through a phase where I feel like I'm off track and I need to get myself on track. That is something that I do to self-motivate, I guess. Structured habits. Yep. Objective self-analysis. Always objective, yeah. Purposeful learning. Yeah, I think, yeah. Openness to new experiences. Yeah, I think I would agree with these. Yeah, that's pretty accurate for me at least. My weakness with self-growth. Let's see. Impatient with slow progress. Yeah, I think actually no, I am. Overcommitting yourself. Probably, yeah. Resistance to relaxation. That one kind of hits me. But I do try to resist my resistance of relaxation. Unrealistically high standards. I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure if I agree with that one. Discomfort asking for support. I disagree with that one. I am very comfortable asking for support, but I think I'm bad at it. Like I don't understand when I'm in a position where I really should be asking for support. So I think asking for support in general is my weakness, but discomfort, I don't think so. Oh, relationship, reliable commitment. Yeah, I think that's a pretty strong one. My longest relationship was 6 years, and I think there's only one relationship where I was the one that cut it off. So yeah, I'm pretty committed. Direct honesty. Yes. And it doesn't always work for everybody. I've learned that. But again, like I said earlier, I am fully honest, but the delivery, I've changed. Encouraging confidence. Yes, for sure. Practical problem solving. Yeah. And again, that's another one that's kind of like links with the honesty thing. Respect for independence. Yes, absolutely. I think there's always room for you and your partner to have your own space, your own hobbies, and I believe in 2 individuals sharing the experience, not 2 people living one person's life. Energetic companion. I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, I think usually my partner oftentimes are the ones that are a little bit higher like energy than me. All right, your weakness. My weakness when it comes to relationships. Difficulty expressing emotions. See, this one is like, I believe to be inaccurate, but when I have these conversations with my partner, a conversation always comes up. I don't know when you're feeling this. I don't know how you're feeling. You haven't shared how you've been recently. You know, those kind of conversations pops up all the time. So probably, yeah. Insensitive criticism. Again, that probably comes with the honesty things. I think I've gotten a lot better with the delivery and the prior communication before even sharing, you know, criticisms. Impatience with vulnerability? I don't think so anymore, at least. I've had a couple relationships with partners that suffered through challenges like anxiety and borderline personality. So I've adopted major patience with vulnerability. Prioritizing task over connection. I think I do till this day struggle to balance my goals and my lifestyle with even myself, let alone my partner. So I think that is a pretty spot on weakness right there. Preference for control. You tend to dominate social decisions and interactions, leaving others feeling overlooked or undervalued. I'm not sure about that one. So I'm the type that like just kind of gives in. You know, if my partner tells me, oh, this doesn't make me feel good, whether that is a good thing or a bad thing, or an effective thing or an ineffective thing, the fact that this person doesn't feel good about this from this thing equals inefficient, ineffective to me. So that's my thought process. So I don't know. I prefer to work around the partner's feeling than my own. And I think in the end, my partner feeling good overwrites how I feel from whatever the initial thing was. So usually when I choose my partner's feeling over mine, it ends up feeling good for me too. I don't even know if that's what this was supposed to mean, but it's okay. That's how I interpret it. Overlooking small gestures. In your emphasis on solutions and outcome, you might underestimate the significance of seemingly minor emotional gestures your loved ones make. I'm not gonna argue against that one because I really don't know. So that was pretty much the main points of what a commander looks like. And at least for me, I think that was pretty accurate of a description. I haven't looked at the other ones, so like I can't really compare. Like there's no other ones that I can be like, oh, I think I'm more of this or more of that. If you guys are curious, this website is called 16personalities.com. You guys can take this free test and see what you guys get. You guys might have something like completely different from mine, and like let me know what you guys get. And I'm gonna actually post mine on like my social, like my Discord. I'm gonna put it in the description so people can see what I am. But I thought this was pretty interesting. I wanted to share this with you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I am gonna be coming back with more Hawaii videos, but sometimes I'm gonna be doing, you know, fun activities like this. But with that being said, thanks again for hanging out. As always, have a great day, great night wherever you're from, and I'll see you all next video. Peace.